Hey guys, what's up? This is Bry. We've got some good Aura data to work through. Got an update on the handbook, which I'm very excited about. But I think this is our last session we're going to do with the books aligned like that. 500 books, all the Philosopher's Notes. I've done the first wave of top three favorite books of all time series. We're going to release that starting on October 1st. And then it's time to get to work on the PNTVs. I got a little chalkboard. There's the chalkboard. Our film guy Ben came out and he installed it. So it's hooked up to the barn roof. Boom. I wheel that guy out here this way. Camera is actually right back there. We've got the light up there. We've got different things going on. Boom. And I'm so excited to get back. Hit the PNTV studio. I did 30 of those that we've been sharing one a day in a quick burst of like maybe over 6 days, 7 days. I like to work in intense bursts where I put all of my energy into whatever's most important right now. So I bang those out. Then I shifted my attention to whatever I needed to do. Now I've got these top three done, and I'm excited because I finished the scaffolding on the book this morning. Put in another 3 hours of deep work, and I now have books coming together. I've got the basic framing up. So imagine building a house, right? I took all of the ideas from our Mastery Series, 300-day program, 7 modules, 25 sessions in the Mastery Series, which is going to be translated into a roughly, we're targeting 300-page book, 7 modules in which I walk us through each of those modules, right? So as I shared yesterday, I've got the intros written and I've got the basic ideas I'm going to share in each of the modules. So eudaimonology, we've got to know the game we're playing and how to play it well. Well, this is what we're going to talk about. Module 2, heroology. It's time to operationalize the wisdom from Finding Joe and Joseph Campbell's wisdom. Boom, 3-part session, let's go. Got a ton of ideas that we're going to talk about there. Excited about it. And then module 3, the big 3 times 2. Module 4, we spend 6 sessions. There's going to be 6 different parts and kind of sub-chapters to this module to help you become a master of creating masterpiece days. Big picture, then PM bookend, then AM bookend, then energy, then work, then love. I framed that out. And then we've got module 5, algorithms, the overview. Use your willpower wisely to install habits that run on autopilot. This is a 3-part, actually 4-part session as well. Then the next part is let's install the number 1 most life-changing habit, the art and science of doing so. 10 ideas. Then let's delete the number 1 kryptonite habit, repeat. Our head coach, Michael, is actually going to join and talk about the optimized power algorithms. Then we've got module 6, which is the longest part of the book. We have 8 parts for this. Overview, why are fundamentals so important? Well, if you want to optimize and actualize virtue-wise, spirituality-wise, and peak performance-wise, dominate your fundamentals. You want to see how tall a building's going to be? Look at how deeply they're digging the foundation. And then we're going to talk about eating, moving, sleeping, breathing, focusing, celebrating, prospering before we wrap it up with module 7. I'm saving the end and the intro for the very end of my writing session, but I am seriously thrilled to have the scaffolding done. This is big for me. And now it's time to just push ahead and just hustle over the next few days to clear my calendar so I can spend huge quantum of time, Peter Drucker style, exclusively on the book. So I'm really, really excited about what I can get done over the next 30, 45 days, getting this thing ready to go. And obviously over the following 15, 30, 45 days as we head into the end of the year and ship it. We'll have a pre-order page up soon. That's our next milestone from a promotion perspective. Other things before we get to Aura, and I do have some good data here. Sleepless night? Yes, it was a sleepless night. I'll tell you why. Good? 6.5 hours of sleep? No, that wasn't good. I'll tell you what I did that wasn't so good that led to that. But first, this compass. What am I doing here? I have not committed. I hereby commit. Today's the day to move from theory to practice to mastery. Never perfectly, but always, if we're doing it right, joyfully as we get a little bit better, spiraling up day in and day out. Now, the compass and I are officially in love. So the lighting's a little weird in here. That compass, I just seriously just love it. We've got some more work to do, as I've said, but as I've said, you can fix the point. We've got a little blue optimized blue point on that. You can fix it in whatever direction you want, period. And I use it as a way to set my virtue intention. So again, when I'm hanging out with the family, it's love, gratitude. When I'm doing journaling or something, it's self-mastery, curiosity, right? If I'm working, it's self-mastery and zest, or maybe wisdom and hope. But today I said it straight up and down. So I've got wisdom and self-mastery kind of landed there, and I'm like, oh, that's it right there. Wisdom and self-mastery, which, as you know, in my journaling every single morning, I draw a circle like that, and then I draw a line through it, which represents the phi symbol in ancient Greece, which represents, for me, philosopher. So I just love that. Wisdom, self-mastery. Boom. Let's go be the best version of ourselves today. As we spiral up and learn from missing the target. So, sleepless night, yes, it was. I actually got 2 hours of deep sleep somehow in that 6 hours and 32 minutes, but 35 minutes of REM. Go me. That's impressive. What did we get yesterday? Yesterday, hour and 11, 2 hours and 13 minutes of deep. Day before that, 2 hours and 30 minutes of REM sleep, 2 hours and 5 minutes. Do more of that. I wonder what I did that day that I did differently this day. Well, specifically, I was just crushing it yesterday. I actually recorded the video. I was on fire. 6 hours of deep work came on, and I had set the intention, as I shared with you, that I wanted to have my last inputs, food and technology-wise, at 3 p.m. Then I missed them. I actually ate reasonably close to that, but tech-wise, I was ready to wrap up around 3:30. I was a little bit behind schedule, but that was okay, frankly, because I was just getting in the groove, etc. And I was about ready to unwind and check off, and my right-hand guy came online. And I always love it when we see each other, sends me a message via iMessages, which I use when I'm online. And he sends me a paper document with some recent thoughts. And he happens to have downloaded a ton of stuff, all awesome, but all getting my mind just jacked up, And so I'm spending a half an hour there. I don't know, wound up spending maybe 45, 50 minutes. So now it's like 4:15, 4:30. And my mind is officially excited, And I kind of blew right through this milestone. And consciously, I was fine with it. But as we can see with my sleep, I just got out of bed at 3:30. One of those nights of I'm just not going back to sleep. Okay, whatever. And I actually felt great. I feel great. I'm not going to make a habit out of this because I know that if you routinely get 6 to 7 hours of sleep a night, and I just wrote about this in the sleep part of the book. Let's see if I can find it real quick, because it's a quote worth keeping in mind. Now, if you once in a while miss the target and you're not getting a great night of sleep, whatever. Eating, there we go. Fundy number 2, moving. Can you guess what fundy number 3 is? Correct. It is sleeping. I actually quote Matthew Walker. So welcome to Module 6, the fundamentals, fundy number 3, sleeping. It's time for an 80-20. Look at that. I'm already finding edits. Fantastic. That's how it works. And 80-20 look at why we sleep, why we don't sleep, and how to optimize the very foundation of our fundies. As always, we have 10 ideas we're going to focus on in this section, followed by the reflection plus action exercises to help us move from theory to practice to mastery. Every single one of the modules has that. Here's the roadmap. First, we're going to talk about why we sleep. It's kind of important, and it's probably a lot more important than you think. Did you know that, according to Matthew Walker, quote, routinely sleeping less than 6 or 7 hours a night demolishes your immune system, more than doubling your risk of cancer? Yep, yikes. And then I proceed with the discussion, and then we've got our 10 ideas. Why we sleep, why we don't sleep, kryptonites, and then I kind of have fun with the brief history of blue light, blah, blah, blah. 10 ideas. So, I didn't get that 7 hours of sleep. And that's simultaneously not something I want to make a habit and not that big of a deal. But I literally was, again, perfect. That's my response to everything. Perfect. I had a target of 3 o'clock, last inputs, food and tech-wise, and I missed by a mile, roughly. Here's my target. Here's my arrow. Oops. And remember, the patron god of philosophy is Apollo. Apollo is an archer. Happy people have targets. Right? We're teleological. The ancient Greeks told us we have targets. Telos is target, which is why I'm always drawing targets and talking about targets. I had a target. I missed that target. Perfect. I can recommit and adjust. Boom. Get back over here. No big deal. I'm going to recommit. Last input, Brian. 3 o'clock p.m., tech and food. That means paper, iMessages, YouTube, no more tech inputs post 3 p.m. I don't do any other technology really. So boom, that's not complicated. It's not going to be easy, but it's not complicated. It's simple, right? Now, the other thing I celebrated as I looked at this data was the fact that I used to do this all the time. I used to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I thought that was awesome. Didn't keep track of how much I slept, had no idea of how much sleep I needed, and I didn't know that Matthew Walker quote, I'll tell you that. I'd get up and I was buzzing because I got the adrenaline, cortisol flowing through me. Boom, how you doing? Let's go. I had no clue. So we want to celebrate the fact that awareness is step number one. And when we inevitably fall short of our standards or miss our target by 1.5 miles like I just did, perfect. Recommit, know that awareness is the first step, and that's a big win. To simply know that you missed your mark is huge because that implies you actually have a mark. And to be out of integrity implies that you actually had a sense of what you wanted to be doing. It's a much lower level of development, Nathaniel Branden says, to not even have a target, right? So anyway, that's how I approach this. And then the other thing that came to mind was Abraham Maslow. We actually talk about this in the book as well. I'm going to tell a story of cooking salty hero bars with Abe. Where we talk about the fact that when he has a good idea brewing, oftentimes he gets insomnia, he gets indigestion, etc. And then he uses that as a reverse indicator that something good is cooking, is what his wife would tell him. Something good must be cooking, Abe. So again, we're human. We're going to have imperfect nights, but we want to make sure we're working our protocol, our process toward the best of our ability, and then simply spiraling up with that mistake learner's high where we genuinely get excited about data. And very importantly, I have here somewhere, don't waste the data. If you have a bad day, don't waste the data. Learn from it. Needs work it and get a little better today. That's all I got. 3 o'clock. What time is it? Let's go. Let's check out what time it is. What time is it right now? I am making a commitment to you. It is 12:19, folks. 12,662 steps in today. What's the weekly average? I'm curious. That's pretty good for this time of the day. Nice. 17,423 is my current running 7-day lag total, average, rather. But 3 p.m., I will have my last food input and I will have my last tech input. Why am I going to do that? Because I want my soul force as high as it can be so I can go hammer what needs to get hammered so I can focus on the book and create something I'm proud of that hopefully you and many others enjoy. All right. Big love. Let's do this. See ya.